What if someone deepfaked you doing something you already did versus something you didn't do? I feel like the thing that feels bad is that when a robot or an AI assumes your identity, I think it's a markedly different feeling because that thing doesn't. Okay, I'm about to go down a very weird train of thought. Okay, so I might change my mind on this in the future. You are violating the consent of someone by forcing them to do something that they don't want to do. So then I started to think, I think this kind of ties in to the concept of like identity, or the reality of your identity in terms of who you are as a person. And I think that AI and deep fakes, I think they can threaten your identity in terms of like who you actually are. You're essentially forcing someone to do something that they don't want to do, but almost like in an altered reality. But it's still like their identity. So I thought about different ways to like test this idea. What if you created a robot that perfectly resembles another person, and then you send that robot into the world to do sex acts? I think it would feel like a violation, even if you're not the robot. Here's the thing that I thought about that was an interesting test case. I don't think I wrote this down. Let's say that an OTV or an OTK, let's say a group sex orgy video releases of OTK or OTV, right? But let's say that all of the actors in those films are like spoof actors, right? Like a Brazzers video, basically. I feel like if that gets leaked, I feel like the reaction, I could be wrong, my intuition tells me the reaction would be that it would be really funny. And I think even the people involved would laugh at it. It would be funny, like parody porn, yeah. Like people would look at it and they'd say like, oh, like this is stupid and hilarious. And look who they got to like cast as Mizkif, and like they got like an Asian woman that's 6 feet tall for a little. It would just be funny. I think people would think that it's like funny. I think. And then I thought, what if you found porn videos of like famous people, but what if you actually got their twins to? Would that make the people feel weird or threatened? And I feel like for that, I don't think it would be a big deal either, even though it's a literal twin. Like imagine you sent a twin of yourself into the world to go and f people, and then nudes got leaked of them. Even if you have the same body, does it feel bad? I don't think it would. I don't think so. Even if it's your twin, I don't think it would feel, because they're like their own person, right? So I feel like the thought that I kind of settled on, and this isn't like 100%. Yeah, I might change my mind on this. I feel like the issue that you run into is a twin or a parody actor. When they impersonate you for a sex video, there is an identity of a thing that exists, and then they're pretending to be you. And that's okay because you know that it's not you. The twin is not you. They look like you, they have your body, but it's not you. There's a person with an identity that's pretending to be you. And then with actors that are parody actors, it's also not you. It's like a person pretending to be you. But I feel like with a robot or with AI, I think it feels different because the thing that's assuming your identity doesn't have one before it does it. And I feel like people keep telling me this thing, what if it was misrepresented as you? No one cares. I'm not talking about public perception. I'm not talking about copyright. I'm not talking about law. I'm not talking about blah, blah, blah. How do we feel personally about it? That's what I'm trying to hone in on right now. I don't give a f all the other conversation is boring as to me. I don't care. Okay, go talk to lawyers if you want to sort that shit out. It's not interesting to me, okay? I'm trying to figure out, why does it feel bad? I feel like the thing that feels bad is that when a robot or an AI assumes your identity, I think it's a markedly different feeling because that thing doesn't have an identity first. And it actually feels like a copy of you that's doing things, that's making you do things that you don't want to do, I think. I think that was the feeling that I settled on. I'll just read the rest of my notes on this. So you're basically forcing someone to do something that they don't want to do, just in another reality. Test, what if you created a robot that perfectly resembles another person, send that robot into the world to do sex acts? It would feel like a violation, even though you're not the robot. Would a twin care if one did porn and the other didn't? I don't think so, because a twin isn't a copy, it's their own person, it's a separate identity. Are we more threatened by robots imitating us than by actual twins that are flesh and blood copied? I think we would be. I really think we would be. Deepfaked audio porn would probably feel just as bad as deepfaked video porn. I think it would. I think that if somebody made a deepfaked audio porn of like Cutie or Pokey or some shit, and it was convincingly them, I think that that would have the same type of like really negative reaction. Maybe not the exact same, but I think that it would carry over a lot of the uncomfortable, like not good feeling about it. You're not gonna run into the issues of like comparing bodies as much and stuff, but I think that would feel really bad too. Robots don't have identities, so them copying you feels much more threatening to your identity. Twins or actors that are similar don't have this feature. A twin or an actor can play at your identity, but they have an identity that exists underneath. A robot is a blank slate. They can assume your identity entirely. What if somebody made a private deep fake, but they never shared it? I still think it's bad. A copied version of yourself is still doing things that you don't want to do. I feel like that's... So all of these have the underlying threat to your identity, I think. Oh, I wrote this example down here later. What if an OTK OTV porn leaked where every single person was played by an actor who looked similar? I think it'd be a little creepy, but I think it'd be super funny. I think most people would laugh at it. I think OTV and OTK included would laugh at it. What if an OTK OTV deepfake porn leaked where every single person was perfectly emulated by either a robot or done via CGI? I think the reaction would be a lot different, and I think people would feel much worse about it. Which is interesting then, because then even like a robo body would make you feel worse than like actual people. And then, and then I thought of that third example. What if they were all twins? I think even the robot thing would feel worse than the twins thing, even though they're twins. I do feel that. What if someone deepfaked you doing something you already did versus something you didn't do? It feels like if they did things I approved of, I don't think I'd care as much. But if it did things I wouldn't want to do, I would feel violated because it assumed my identity in a way an actor or twin couldn't, as they already have identities. Oh, this is something that I thought about. Let's say that like somebody deepfakes a porn video of me, like having like sex, like vanilla sex, right? And let's say I didn't care about people seeing me publicly having sex, right? If that leaked, it would be like kind of weird, but I don't think I would care because it's not a threat to my identity because I inherently or implicitly consent to those actions because I've already done them, right? I don't care if a deepfake thing like leaks of me somebody in a way that I've already for, because I think it plays into my idea of identity, right? I've already done that. That's part of my identity. But if a deepfake video released where I was doing things that I wouldn't traditionally do, I wouldn't want to do, right? Say a deepfake video release of me like eating shit out of somebody's asshole or some crazy ultra fetish thing like that, I would feel bad. Because it's almost like I've been forced to do something that I don't want to do. Yeah. I ended up on all of this. I feel like the really deep intrinsic thing is I think that deepfakes or AI stuff impersonating us, because the thing underneath that's impersonating you doesn't have an identity of its own. I think that your identity is threatened a lot more when a deepfake happens. I think. That's my feeling on it. Somebody in YouTube chat said, I either hate the women and I think all of them are stupid for caring at.
And this feels like a weird battle to die on, like a hill to die on. Do you remember like that could be horrifying? Like I think my father would be horrified if somebody was using my